Let's go.
Welcome back, everybody. Great series we just saw there. Zoun now in the winner's match. And I actually see Zoun, by the way. This is not on camera, but I see him over Kier's shoulder. They're looking at the replay together, talking about it. I'm curious what that conversation sounds like. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like it's always like, you know, especially after a StarCraft match, if your opponent's willing to sit down and talk with you about exactly what happened and what they think the solution is, that's always a really like gold level, perfect was what I'm trying to say, conversation to hear in on. I wish I could be a fly on the wall of that combo. Anyways,
although they might play each other again later on in this series, so maybe
Zoun
he's feeding him wrong information. He's like, no. You want to go really fast with command center against this.
You really want to go 4 command center versus that. Yeah. That's the only way that you can.
Just skip the engineering base. Just make more Marines.
You should make more units and not get upgrades. Don't get stim in that game. So we're going to have Solar going up against Creator. I think Solar is favored here, but you know,
I would say so.
When Creator's on, he's really on. But I do feel like Creator has always been his own worst enemy. Yeah. And you know, by the way, I know that different players have different emotional reactions to losses, and you know, I know a lot of these players pretty well. And normally, I kind of keep that to myself, but Creators has been so public. You know, when he's losing, you could see he's so visibly angry, or slams his fist on the desk or something like that. So, I think whenever I cast his games, I'm always looking: is Creator going to be able to keep his composure? Because if he does, I think he can take it.
He's a very streaky player too, where like his highs are so high and his lows are so low.
When he's playing his best game, he looks like the best Protoss in the whole world. But then if you know, this happens with some perfectionist players. It reminds me a little bit of Hydra back in the day. Just to have a little bit of a throwback here. It's like he's good until he messes up his own build order, and then he's so tilted he kind of doesn't really matter what the opponent's doing. He's too frustrated at himself, right? A big part of StarCraft is kind of just you doing everything yourself, not even what the opponent's doing, but you hitting all your marks. So anyways, guys, map 1's ready. Let's go. Okay, Solar down here in the bottom, Creator up here in the top.
Solar fresh off a second place finish. DreamHack Dallas looking real good. But for ZVP, I don't know exactly where Solar is out. At Dallas, I mean, that's like early morning here in Korea, so I couldn't watch all of the games live. But my impression from Solar's performance was that it was mostly on the back of his ZVZ and his ZVT. He wasn't super tested in ZVP, and then also in GSL Season 1, I'm thinking back to he played those series against Raynor and just barely didn't make it to the round of 8. So, I mean, clearly one of these guys that is just in peak form. Man, these fans are amped for Solar. Let's go.
I agree with the block of cheese sign.
I love that energy. I love that energy. But I'm so curious about his ZVP, because for me, this is the biggest question mark in Solar's play. We know that he is one of the best players in the world right now. It looks like he's back to his old form, especially in ZVZ, where it feels like he can beat basically anybody in that matchup. For a long time, I feel like for the majority of like the last 3 or 4 years, if I like choose a champion to defend my life in a ZVZ match, I would pick Solar every single time. So it's good to see him getting back into that form. But, you know, Creator, historically, kind of a PvZ specialist, and Solar, not really sure where he's at in ZVP. So I think it's going to be a really informative series about both of these players moving on here in GSL.
So, you know, we were talking a little bit about PvT. It's in a pretty interesting spot. It does feel like the Protoss almost has to operate like a Zerg, so to speak. Like it's really all about just accumulation, like accumulation of bases, accumulation of upgrades, accumulation of tech. And I know that all of StarCraft is kind of like that, but, you know, the truth is there are a lot of matchups where you're just trying to get in and finish the job at a certain point. But the way that Zoun played in that last game, it was like, I'm going to stay back. I'm just going to keep defending everything, and eventually I'm going to be unstoppable. Now, I'm curious what the state of PvZ is like, because, you know, with all these different patches, and just as we all kind of grow as players, you know, people kind of learn things or they approach the game in different ways. But yeah. I'm curious to see what kind of PvZ we're going to be having here.
By the way, during the GSL qualifiers, Solar actually lost a series to, I believe, both Creator and Zoun. 2-1 to get here. So coming into this group is a chance at redemption here for the runner-up at DreamHack Dallas. For Creator, on his side of things right now, just going for the standard Oracle opening. I think that was like a 217 Stargate, which is about standard for PvZ. It's been standard for a very long time. And I think we're just going to see a mostly normal macro game from Creator early on here. It doesn't seem like he's going to be trying to throw any wrenches into the machine of Solar. Probably just going to throw down the second gateway and then gun for a third base, and then we'll have to see where Protoss is going to develop from there.
So we've got the double Adepts coming out here. The Oracles are going to come in here as well to try to snipe a couple of workers. Ooh. Right now, Zerg is just continuously droning. And yeah, the Oracle paired with the 2 Adepts, you cannot fight that with your Zerglings.
Yeah, that was nice timing for Creator.
So he's going to have to come back here. He's going to see if he can't damage this Oracle a little bit before it gets too far in. Nice snipe on the Creep Tumor.
Yeah, he's prioritizing denying creep spread a lot early on in this series.
Yeah, and not really overextending. And this is off of a really fast third Nexus. So the idea is Creator generates a little bit of pressure. Keep in mind, had the Lings actually gone around this, they might have been able to snipe the Nexus. I didn't see an Adept back there, so Creator was playing a little bit risky, but looks like this is going to get up.
Yeah, there is a second Oracle somewhere on the map. It might just be defending that third base, but there is a chance, you know. It's actually quite a few Lings coming out here for Solar. He had another round, 15 in total on the field. He's going to be poking and prodding over at that third base. We'll see where that second Oracle is. And yes, indeed, it is defending that Nexus. Yeah, Creator just doing a really good job of denying the creep spread. And for me, I mean, denying creep spread is always a good thing to do. If you can do it, you should do it in basically every single matchup. But I was wondering this, because sometimes it does telegraph, if you're really into denying the creep spread, it telegraphs the timing.
Right.
We have 3 more gateways finishing, or not finishing, just getting started. That's going to be 5 gateways in total with Glaives coming in. And so Solar being a little bit hamstrung on the creep spread, that could be painful for him. You know, it's going to be a couple less seconds that he sees these Adepts moving cross map. It might make it harder for him to get a surround with Lings or potentially with Roaches on those Adepts in between the bases. We've seen a couple different variants on Glaive builds in PvZ over the course of the years and also over the course of the last season of GSL, and this seems like it's going to be one of these more aggressive ones. Again, 5 gateway Adept, that is a really big commitment. We have no Forge, we have no other tech coming in. It's just going to be a ton of Adepts. We'll have to see how much damage is going to get done. There is a safety Roach Warren that just completed. 4 Roaches and Roach Speed are starting.
Yeah, this Adept Glaive is going to hit pretty hard, I think. He's got the Adepts on. I think they're shading across the map right now.
Yeah.
And, you know, let's see what he can do. It seems like he's angling for the third base, or maybe kind of cutting in between the third and the second base. There's more Lings being made. There's Blink being made behind this as well. And he started the first shade. I think this is going to be a fake out, and he's going to try to come down. I think this is not going to work on either end. Yeah, he's going to have to regroup. Really good deflection there by Solar, who's just having none of it. I don't know, man. I don't think there's enough of anything here. Am I wrong about this? He's going to try to... Yeah, absolutely no way that's going to work.
Yeah. I mean, Solar has had a really good read on this. He stopped at, I think, around 60 workers and made a really nice balance between Roaches and Lings. And as a result, he just has barely enough units to really deflect this without too much damage. But Creator can force trades like this one, especially against slow Roaches where you're fighting off creep. Like you can get a couple of Queens maybe, you can get a couple of Roaches and then just shade away. But even though these are good trades here for Creator, when you open 5-gate Adept Glaives, you really want to get more damage done.
Yeah, I mean, the reality is the Roaches are just there because they can fight the Adepts. So you don't care if you're going to lose or trade out Roaches for Adepts. Now, whenever you see someone, whether they're forced to go to Roach or it's premeditated from the very start of the game, there's going to be a Roach Ravager timing.
Queen's loading up in this Overlord right now.
So he's going to do a counter. I guess all-in isn't the right move, but it's a counter timing attack coming across the map here. Yeah. And this is going to hit hard. This is going to hit him like a bus.
This is really scary for Creator right now. Templar Archives, I believe, is done. I saw it in the production tab, but no Templar just warped in. Yeah, there it is here in the main base.
He gooped the Twilight Council.
Yeah, Blink.
That's
maybe
amazing.
like, what, 10, 15 seconds away from completion. There are 16 Stalkers right now, so if Blink isn't done at the start of this fight, that's pretty big. Oh, Stasis Trap. Oh, it gets canceled. It gets killed right before it's done. And now the attack coming here into the actual expansion. Blink not done just yet. These Stalkers have to shimmy away. Oh, look at this. Biles raining down right now on the shield battery. Good force field. They're going to try and stop the flood coming in. Oh, look at this. Even a Ling drop in the main base. Dude, Solar, what a brilliant timing. Blink only just now finishing, but the dust is basically settling on this fight.
Dude.
A lot of damage done. Creator is going to hold with these Oracles. Those Queens did get sniped down. That was looking pretty good for Solar. I'm actually surprised he didn't get even more damage done. The Stalker count thinned out so much there, Tasteless.
It's crazy. Now he's continuously pushing back now. He's going to try to do this counter, but more Lings are going to be able to meet up with this. And it does seem like Solar's not done yet. He hasn't thrown in the towel as far as his rush goes. He's going to do a great job just punishing that Immortal, and I think this could actually have been a bit of an overextension. You know, once he's got the Queens here, he can just get one more drop Overlord and maybe even try again. Sorry, what is going on the center left? What is that? Is that Overlord's dropping creep or something?
I have no idea. That's a very good question.
There's like this. There's something at the center. I'm a little bit confused. It must be Overlords. Oh,
yeah.
Okay, yeah. Okay, that's what it is.
They're just chilling.
I was like, he didn't like make a hatch there, right? Like next to nothing.
Yeah, no,
so
look bizarre.
So we have another attack in here. Now keep in mind, like the Immortal and a couple other key units were picked off. We've got a fresh one that's over here by the entrance.
We have a lot of Oracle energy here at the disposal of Creator. Keep in mind, the main reason he was able to deflect that initial push was just the Oracles were able to go uncontested, but now we have more Queens reinforcing. There is creep spread dropping in. Oh man, that pylon. Yeah, they just get sent to the Nether Realm.
Yeah.
With the Queens here, Creator is really hard pressed to get any damage done against this army.
He's going to get the Cybernetics core here, which means he can't make any more Stalkers. You know, Zealots are going to be pretty useless in a fight like this versus Roaches. So like, I think that the it wasn't the first punch, but maybe the second one coming in here. This may be too much. And keep in mind the Robo is right here. You want to have the Robo usually forward like this so the Immortals can come out, but like the Robo can also just end up being the Achilles heel of the Protoss, kind of too exposed here. He's going to kill that before the Immortal can finish. I think that we are at game over here. A maxed out Solar is just trampling everything the Creator is bringing out here.
I mean, that first push gained so much momentum there for Solar. It was really stunning that Creator was able to hold on as well as he did, but that momentum just a little bit too much. Solar just continuing to chill at 62 drones. That is all he needs. So many Roaches and Raptors coming in. Oracle will get denied. And Creator just slowly bleeding out over here. +2's going to finish, but there just isn't enough army to back it up. 6 Stalkers in total on the ground.
Yeah, Creator taps out GG. You know, I'm not personally, I'm not the biggest fan of like some of these Adept timings. I feel like I cast them losing so much that I just don't know if that's the way you want to do it.
I feel we've been saying this for years and they just keep happening.
Yeah,
so I remember even before I was, like when I was just subbing for GSL and I would be like at home watching you and Dan cast, you guys would have the same conversation.
Yeah,
because Glaive's just been, it's ubiquitous. You always see it in PvZ.
It felt like it was really strong when the Adept came out because nobody was used to how it could move around. Like the Adept for a while was like the craziest, strongest thing just because it was a hard thing to deal with. You know what I mean? And then people like learn, oh, you can like block Adepts with other Adepts. There was this whole evolution. You know, there was never anything like it in StarCraft 1, and there wasn't anything like it in the first 2 expansions. And then, you know, when Legacy of the Void came out, it was like, okay, it's tough. But, like, people are very good. They can't get out-positioned with the Shades anymore.
That's very rare at this level.
You know? And so, I don't know. And then, you know, it kind of sets the Zerg up to do that counterattack, which I think you should always do that. You should always get the drop Overlord and just try to do a big counter blow because, you know, the Adepts just can't fight Ling Roach. And then you can tech right into Ravagers. You can take out the batteries, the cannons, everything else. It's just strong. Anyways, guys, we're going to go to Ultra Love here for map number 2 in the series.
right, Solar spawning here in the top right as the blue Zerg, creator of the red Protoss in the bottom left. I kind of want to, man, I wish we had like a replay system or something. I want to go back and see that initial push that Solar did at Creator's third base, because I really thought Creator was dead. And then somehow Creator was able to snipe all of those queens and really hold on in kind of a miraculous fashion. I think as soon as that GSL replay pack gets posted on the Patreon, I'm going to download it, and just for my own well-being, I have to see that fight again. So I thought he was dead or rights from the first push. It was really impressive he was able to hold on as well as he did, but I mean, the momentum that Solar gained with that timing, just like you said, Tasteless, against especially a 5-gate Glaives push. It's not even like a 4-gate Glaives. The commitment is so big from the Protoss player. It slows down the blink, it slows down the other techs. So you know that it's just going to be a gateway army. And Solar even able to contaminate the Twilight Council and delay blink until like most of the Stalkers, like half of them were basically dead by the time blink finished at that third base. I mean, just everything went Solar's way. That was a really beautifully played PBZ.
Now, you know, in this game, it's like, okay, what will Creator do? Because I think another Adept timing is just out of the question. I think maybe unless it's like a map that's shaped a certain way where it's like, oh, actually, it really is hard for the Zerg to try to hold this. But yeah, maybe he just does something a lot more passive. We've seen some success for Protoss is just kind of stay back, even like amassing air, you know, stuff like that.
If you want to go late game, it's a way to do it.
Yeah.
I don't think we're going to see Glaives again in this series, especially not here on Ultra Love. I mean, look at the natural ramp right now. Just 3x3 structures, walled it off completely. I'm sure somebody as smart as Solar could also use something like the Spore Door just to completely seal that area up.
Yeah. Old Spore Door.
It is a Twilight Council opening, but I feel like this is probably going to be blink.
Yeah, I'd prefer that.
I'll be really sad if it's Glaives again. I'll die a little bit inside. Unless he wins, then it's cool.
Yeah. Well, that's, you know, it's so funny because, like, there are certain things in StarCraft where, like, if it works, you look like a genius, and if it doesn't work, you look like a fool. You know?
I've always been curious about this with the Glaives, just why we see it so often at this level. And part of my, like, internal headcanon for why this happens is because when these guys play on a ladder, all the top players aren't laddering all the time. And if they are laddering a bunch, they're not all laddering at the exact same time, right? So for somebody like Creator, anytime he hits like a 5-9 or 5-8...
Can that not hide over that?
Wait, that can. Huh?
What happened there? Is his Stalker just a little bit taller and can see up there?
I don't think it's taller. There's something weird going on with that black hole.
Got little platform shoes on that give him a couple extra inches, and now he's...
The Hawking radiation from the black hole is just telegraphing the Stalker what to do.
It was funny, too, because you could see the Zerg like trying to use like this. It's like doing 360s where you're like trying to click. It's like it's somewhere up here that I can hide.
Occasionally, there's just some pillars that just aren't actual pillars, just complete bait for the Zerg players. And I just find it so funny.
That's very satisfying.
I find it so funny when that happens.
Yeah.
I feel like the map makers in general in StarCraft 2, by the way, it is Glaives again, which just blows my mind.
Well, it's going to be Glaives with a Warp Prism, so this may be a more committed, robust Glaives.
We'll see.
Wait, did he have a Warp Prism with the last one? He didn't.
No,
right?
it was just
he
pure
didn't.
5 gateway.
Okay.
But
second guess myself.
Yeah, we'll see how this goes. But usually the map makers, I don't know if it's the map makers themselves or somebody will like publish, like there's always these like almost heat maps that get posted on Reddit, and I'm sure on like Team Liquid and the other sites, like show where the pillars are fake and where they're real.
Yeah.
But still, sometimes you get into a spot like that one, and it's just like, oh, I guess that Overlord's dying now for free. By the way, this Stalker, I think those Lings are probably gonna get into the natural expansion. Just watching the minimap right now. Yep, they are getting in. These Glaives also pushing the third base here of Zerg. Only one drone to be found. I think Solar might not be expecting Glaives again here in game number 2. We certainly weren't. These Lings causing a little bit of mayhem in the main base, but so far the Adepts not really getting that much done. They are going to be able to focus fire down one of these Queens, and 4 Adepts getting, they will get warped into the main, but they lose all of their shields, they lose half of their hulls.
Is he going to unload here and try to fight? I guess he can, I don't know. Could he juggle this one to save him? Yep, he does.
Yeah, he could a little bit. A lot of lost mining time there in that main base.
Yeah, I mean that's the Zerg's dream, right? Is to slow down the mining timing, and that'll hiccup the progression of the Adepts getting warped in more quickly.
Yeah, those like 6 or 8 lanes just more than paid for themselves with that little counterattack. Little Stalker and then deny a lot of mining. That is enough Glaive Adepts so they could actually deal with some of these roaches in low numbers. That Queen also, there's a little segment where there isn't creep on the ramp. Queen basically hits a speed bump and then dies out. Solar's been doing a really good job of defending the main base and the natural base, but the third base, still no mining. He's only at 41 workers, so right on par with the Protoss player. And I gotta say, the Glaive's actually trading quite well in general. Also, a little bit of Warp Prism micro here, dodging the projectiles from those roaches. I don't think it's a slam dunk that Crater was going for, but
no,
certainly better than the previous map, at least until this point.
Oh man, big counterattack here with these Lings. That's gonna be one less Adept that can be warped in. He almost goes back into the main and then pulls away.
And we have Immortal production starting here for Creator. Keep in mind, there is no Blink on the way. There's no Forge upgrades.
Right.
I'm a little bit concerned if he leans really heavily into the Immortals, because if Solar just completely full sends something like Ling Ravager, he already has a good handful of roaches on the map right now. Immortal's not doing a lot of damage to that composition. And as soon as the Adepts die, there is going to be very little in terms of meat shield here for Protoss.
Okay, he's got the Ravagers coming up here. And I don't know, man. I mean, this is tough. He decides to seesaw over to the other side, hitting the third base. And, I mean, there's no Immortal that can join this right now. This is just a lot of damage. The Warp Prism's getting microed back. I think that this game might be overstayed.
Yeah, it is looking that way. Solar again with a timing attack follow-up to the Glaives build, just cleaning this up. I mean, the third base is going to fall. Creator
Solar's ruthless. He just already moves his Ravagers over here, lets the Lings clean this up.
Oh, I thought for sure that Stalker was dead. I can't believe it survived.
So he takes that out. He's going to get Spore Crawlers back at his base at home.
I mean, this is a very awkward situation. So Creator isn't dead yet. The worker counts are basically even. The saturation going to be a little bit better for Solar because he has that third base, whereas Creator is just sitting on 2. But where do you go here as Creator? I feel like you almost have to build up to some kind of timing attack. Like I think if you try to secure a third Nexus here as Creator, you're going to be a little bit too far behind in tempo. Like you got to build to a killing blow, but how do you navigate an army composition against a Zerg that just feels like they have the perfect lair tech already available? Like the Ravager count is really healthy. There are a ton of Lings on the map. The drone count is ballooning all the way up to 60. And keep in mind, again, that's way more meaningful because those 60 drones can be very well utilized. The fact that it's only a 7-worker lead does not actually tell you where the economies are at. Okay, Creator is going to take a third.
Yeah, keep in mind, it's not like the Zerg was able to macro comfortably, right? That the wind up and counterattack was quite an investment. But having a fourth base and this push from Protoss, let's see if this does anything. I think that Creator should be driven away. We also want to watch the Warp Prism very carefully. Whenever you have Ravagers out like this, if he's going to try to warp in anything, that Warp Prism is going to be the target you want to hit with those Ravager corrosive vials.
I almost feel like Creator with that push is just doing a classic kind of sharking maneuver where he's just trying to make Solar do another round of units and then retreat instead of drones. Just try to interrupt the Zerg economy a little bit by feeding wrong information. And the tech of choice for Creator is going to be Colossus. And Creator has done a very good job of stabilizing. It looked like he was basically knocked out when that third base fell, but here on Ultra Love, it's really hard to push up that natural ramp. Even with as many Ravagers as Solar had, it's tough with force fields available. And so Solar is instead going to be basically maxing out with 61 drones. This is, I think, one less drone than when he did the timing attack in the last game.
This is so many Ravagers?
Yeah, dude, that's a lot of Ravagers. Right at the junction between the natural expansion and the third. And this is just such a good composition against what Creator's got. He's going to go right into the ramp. This ramp has never been more populated by Ravagers.
There's so much hitting right now.
And there's nothing that's particularly good against the Ravagers here either. Creator is just Immortals, Stalkers, and Sentries mostly. Now, one Colossus is done, but there's basically no bonus damage being dealt except against those Roaches. Creator with some really nice micro is going to be able to blink a lot of these Stalkers back. I mean, give Creator credit. He is doing the best in a very difficult situation, but Solar with just a battering ram of Ravagers, breaking down the third base again here at the 10-minute mark. It's just a little bit too much.
GG.
GG. Solar gets revenge from the GSL qualifier and continues his hot streak after Dallas winning his first series 2-0 over Creator.
Yeah, he went for the Adepts again. Now, you know, I don't want to ever be too critical of any strategy, but yeah, it didn't seem to work. I think Solar really, if you're going to beat him, it's not going to be like that. Maybe Creator not confident with the other types of tech he has here. Keep in mind, there's only one Zerg in this group, so it's not like you have to pocket you know, one PvZ strategy because you've got a better one for, I don't know, the other really good Zerg that would be in the group later. So right now he's going to go down to the losers match. That's going to be a tough one because that's Cure down there. Cure is one of the scariest players in the world right now. It's going to be a tough group for Creator. But we're going to go to the winners match next, everybody. It's Solar versus Zoun. We will be right back.